So good day, everybody. And I woke up feeling like all over the place, like pieces of me were just all over the place. And so, I stopped. I took some deep breaths to center myself, to gather myself, just to pause and to slow things down. You ever wake up and it's just whoosh, rushes at you, all the things, all the things that need to get done. So I said, let's slow it down, Melissa. Let's slow it down. And taking deep breaths, Linda, helps me to slow things down. That and doing my meditation. Oh, yes. Thank you, Nan. She said, off topic, but gorgeous necklace. Is that a Gladys Williams special? Okay, off topic. Sidetrack real quick. Yes, this is Gladys Williams. Amazing crystal matching earrings. Just extraordinary. Go to AsantiJewels.com and find yourself just extraordinary pieces of art that Gladys creates into jewelry. So this is one of a kind. She does one of a kind pieces. So you won't find this, but you'll find something. I promise you. It is amazing. Yes, it is amazing. I needed this crystal energy on me today. So I was like, okay, girl, you're going to wear a turtleneck and some crystals. That's what we're doing today. Turtleneck and crystals. So in my scatteredness, I became aware that I was also telling myself stories, right? You ever catch yourself telling yourself a story? And it's usually not a good story, right? Let's be honest, right? So I'm feeling scattered. I realized that I'm telling myself a story when I started to slow down. And it made me think about stories we tell each other, right? Not each other. Well, we tell each other stories too, but more stories that we tell ourselves. Stories that we tell ourselves. And that sparked my remembering a story that I read when I was preparing for my sermon last Sunday about a frog. So I went back to find the story because I didn't use it in my sermon, but I just love the story. And when things, you'll know me by now, when things like that just pop into my mind, my intuition, my knowingness, I follow it. I follow it because there's usually something there for me. And usually when there's something there for me, I think there's something there for you too. So I'm going to share this story. And it's from the book Learn to Live by Ervin, Seale. And it's a new thought interpretation of the parables. But this story, I guess you could say it's a parable also, but it's a really good story about a frog. Quick story. A frog fell into a deep rut on a muddy road. He jumped and jumped in an effort to get out, but to no avail. His friends stood around and watched and sympathized. But when evening fell, they all went home, leaving the frog in the deep rut. When morning came, they all returned and found the frog sitting on the side of the road, chirping a song of victory in the sunlight. His friends all inquired, "How did you get out of that hole? How did you get out of that deep rut?" The frog replied, "A truck came along and I had to get out." A truck came along and he had to get out of that hole. He had to get out of that deep rut. So I said, okay, Spirit, you took me to this story. I am feeling scattered, not necessarily in a rut, but don't we sometimes get into a rut? That frog got into a deep rut, right? Now, we could say literally he was in a hole, right? But also on another level, on a spiritual level, we can find ourselves in a hole, in a deep rut, and telling ourselves stories about being in the rut. Now, what did his friends do? His friends was just like standing around looking at him, sympathizing, and then they went on about their business, leaving him there, right? And when they came back the next day, he was on the side of the road singing his song of victory. And they were like, "How did you get out?" And he said, "A big old truck was coming, so I had to get out." Right? Oftentimes, we wait. We wait until there's a semi truck coming our way for us to move. For us to move. We don't have to wait, right? We don't have to wait for a semi truck to be heading our way for us to move. The frog thought a new thought. That's what the story is telling us. When you find yourself in a rut, right? It's usually connected to some old thinking, some old patterns of limiting thinking, some old patterns of limiting belief, some old patterns of it. And what do we need to do? What did the frog do? The frog thought a new thought. Yes, he did. He thought, "Oh my God, that truck is coming. If I don't get my behind out of this rut, I'm going to get hit and squished and die." Right? So his new thought was, "I can do this. I can do this. I can save myself. I could be my own hero." Right, Seku? I could be my own hero and think a new thought. Believe that I can get out of this situation. I can get out of this old pattern of thinking, these old beliefs that get me in a hole of doubt, of worry, of fear, of limitation, whatever it may be. And so, just like the frog, we have the power within us that we can use to move. To move. Now, when his friends came back the next day and the frog was on the side of the road, he just moved. He didn't move far. He just moved from being in the deep rut, being in a hole, to the side of the road. He took a baby step. He leaped out and he was right there. They didn't come back and he was gone, right? He wasn't like miles away. We only need to take a baby step to move ourselves gently and kindly out of our holes that we may find ourselves in. Yes, Wayne, yes. One step and the next gets you where you're going. Yes, it only takes one step, one leap, one hop to move us. I think about if I allowed myself to follow the scattering thoughts, right? And I know where they will lead me to because I've been there before, right? It's a place that we visit all the time if we allow ourselves to go there. The place of feeling overwhelmed, the place of feeling stressed out, the place of feeling like, "Oh my God, how am I going to do all of this?" Right? But we could think a new thought. We could think a new thought. And that new thought can move us in the direction that we really want to go in. So, what story are you telling yourself today? Is it a story that's going to keep you in the deep rut? Are you going to wait until it gets so bad, like a semi truck is heading towards you before you move, before you shift? Or will you shift yourself? Will you minister to yourself? Will you coach yourself? Will you talk loving kindness to yourself so that you can move? Just that one step. Yes, Nan. And when you take a step, the view you see is then a little different, opening new possibilities. Yes, yes, yes. Yes. Thank you for that, Nan. A shift in perspective. It's all we need. It's a little shift. And then follow that. Don't follow the rut. Don't go down the hole. Right? Take a leap. Take a leap. So the next time you find yourself in a story, and finding yourself in a story requires awareness, self-awareness. It requires just taking a moment and checking in with myself, asking yourself out loud, wait a minute, what story am I in right now? Is this an old story? This is a repeat. I done saw this story already. Let me change the channel of my mind and create a new story where I am already victorious. Yes? Yes, Bonnie. Bonnie said, when you go through hell, don't stop. That's right. Don't stop. Keep going. All right, y'all. So that's where I am today. It might be a series of stories this week. And I loved how this frog story just leaped into my lap. All right, y'all. Today, all right. So remember, check in with yourself and see what story are you telling yourself. And then if you need to shift, make that shift. One little baby step, one movement out of that rut, right? And if it's a good story, keep it going. Keep it going. So peace and blessings, everybody. Peace and justice. You are very welcome, Nan. Let's live life in joy. Yes, connected to our yes.